Hi, today I'm going to finally get around to showing you how to do the soot stamping technique that is shown in this card and was on my blog earlier this month. Okay, and this technique requires a bit of safety, so with that in mind I have covered my table and stamping area with tinfoil, and I advise you to do the same. We're using glossy cardstock. Now glossy cardstock comes only in 8.5 by 11 sheets, and as you can see, one side has a shine, the other side is cardstock, a plain cardstock, not very good for stamping on. This side, however, is wonderful for many marvelous techniques, soot stamping being one of them. So the other materials you will need obviously is something to produce the soot, and I'm going to suggest a candle, not a tea light candle, but almost any other kind of candle that has a long wick. The longer the wick, the more soot or smoke is produced. So this one I'm just going to stand upright once I get it warm. If you're afraid of fire, this is have water, but basically I think this is just fine. I've done this technique with many people, and we've had very few fires. You may get to see one just on the edge of a cardstock. When you soot your paper, you do not want to go in the top portion. The most heat is just above the flame. The area that we're going to aim for is the middle of the flame, not the wick, but the middle of the flame. So you can see I'm putting my cardstock in. This is what I get. I'm aiming for some more black than that. So if you stand up or look up from above, you can see where it has been sooted. I sort of go in a circular motion like this. And you can see how nice and black that gets. Now I have some paper ready. The other preparation that I do have is I usually have a tinfoil receptacle for stamped sooted items. These ones are ready for you to see what I'm going to do with them. If you want a white image, for instance like the one in this card or in this one, a grayish white spooky image, which is terrific for Halloween, then you do the sooting just like I showed you on this piece of cardstock. No preparation, just the glossy side gets the soot on it. And here's a sample of that. I'm just going to take this piece of paper here and use the wheel haunting to roll across this page. Where the rubber goes, I'm not sure if you can see that right in the center here, where the rubber goes, it will pick up the soot. And here's what your stamp looks like after. The soot is tricky to clean off. I always use, instead of our Stampin' Scrub, I use soap, hand soap, and it comes nice and clean. That's an example of the white. If you want a color to show through your stamping, then you take your glossy white cardstock, and what I've done to get the image on this horse card is I did direct to paper inking. So I hold the cardstock and drag my ink across it. Takes a few swipes, and this works best if you have your cardstock cut slightly larger than you wish the final product to be, or you're going to get inky fingers, as I'm going to right now. Now that you've inked the paper, you have a coating, then you can soot it with the candle. Here's a paper that I have prepared. It's already been sooted, and I'm going to stamp my horse images. This is from the set Wanted. Stampeding across the page. Now you can place this on your tray. It's not complete yet, because if you touch this paper anywhere, Notice I handle from the side. If you touch it anywhere, you're going to remove the soot. Can you fix that? Yes, you can by turning it upside down over your flame again and simply getting more soot. The aim of this is to not burn your paper, but just put a coating of soot. Because this paper is 8.5 by 11 inches long, you can cut it in strips to use for scrapbooking also. So I'm going to use the wheel, I believe it's called Batty. Yes, Batty. And I'm going to roll it across this sooted piece of glossy cardstock to show you that you can also use this method for creating banners or titles for your scrap pages. Once you have done all the stamping you're going to do, then you take this tray outdoors because you have to fix the soot, or of course your fingers will remove it. I use Krylon spray. This one dries in up to 12 minutes, and it really does work. It's amazing. It leaves a slightly glossy coat, and notice that it says highly flammable and explosive and poisonous. That's why you do it outdoors, where you're not going to breathe it in and where it cannot come in contact with flame. Now I'm going to show you how to spray with the Krylon. Simply coat the paper, and if you see it has a glossy sheen. This is a good way to protect your paper in a windy day, and also if you're only doing 1 or 2 samples. If you're doing a whole club, you simply take your tray outside with everyone's work on it, and again spray. I'm holding it up about a foot, for those of you who are Canadian, 30 centimeters from the paper, and I'm going to give it 2 coats. In 12 minutes, those will be ready to mount. Can be used mounted and used for a scrap page. This one suits the spooky Halloween theme. You could have one on the bottom, one on the top, with your photos in between, if you want. Or my upline, the person who got me into this crazy habit of mine, used this technique for a campground scrap page. Campfire fun. You can stamp with letters. I could have inked this up first, the same to have another color showing through, but you get the idea. A very versatile method. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial and have a bit of fun with it in the future. Bye for now.